On today's episode of the Views from Section 400 podcast, we have a fantasy football preview with Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm. Very fun interview with him, about an hour-long preview, diving into tight ends, quarterbacks, who you should pick with number one pick, running backs, training camp battles, bunch of good stuff. Before that, we talked NFL holdouts, what's going on with James Cook, Micah Parsons, hopefully won't be going to the Eagles. Terry McLaurin still remains unsigned. And we finish off the show with our Michaels of the Week. It's a packed show, really fun show. Stay tuned. It comes up next.
And just like that, we're back.
A16, turn me up.
Welcome into episode 197 of Views from Section 400, almost at 200. But guys, NFL players will not stop holding out. They won't stop. We have Terry McLaurin. We have Trey Hendrickson. I guess those are hold-ins. And now we have James Cook holding in. And the reason he gave reporters is business.
Wait, so yeah, we do see it every year. But I thought, so Trey Hendrickson's back. Terry McLaurin's back. I didn't see that one.
He's holding in, so he's not participating.
So he's pulling a Micah Parsons before Micah Parsons. I know we'll get to him in a second, but so he's just walking around on the sidelines in shorts and a t-shirt.
Pretty much, signing autographs for the children.
Yeah, being and they'll say it's in support of the fans. I don't know. It's not anything crazy for me to look at. It's we see it every year. Guys want to get paid, and they know if they get a major injury, millions and millions of guaranteed money goes out the door.
Yeah, I mean, this is Myles Garrett from last year. That's the most recent notable example I can think of. We did this whole thing with Myles Garrett last year. Chris Jones, too. Like, he sat out week one even.
Yeah, they lost to the Lions, right? That was the Tony interception game.
Was that last year?
2 years ago?
It was probably 2 years ago, because last year was the Ravens Chiefs with the Isaiah Likely in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that I couldn't watch.
Yep.
Sitting outside a Sky Bar.
We see this happen every year. It's just, this is nothing new. You see the guys, they're improving their tactics. I think it's a smart move by Parsons, McLaurin, going over, signing autographs with the fans, making sure you're a fan favorite, city favorite, putting some pressure on an ownership to make sure you get re-signed. It's a smart move, but we see this every year. It's nothing to worry about. All of these guys will go back to their same team.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about, though, is we talk about Parsons, we talk about McLaurin. You could argue those are maybe top two players on both of those teams, and they're both teams that are trying to catch our buddy here that his team just won the Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at. That when I'm seeing these things happen, that's all I'm thinking about. The Eagles are living rent-free in my head again.
I really don't even care about Trey Hendrickson. I'm not worried about the bag. I want to talk Micah Parsons, so let me know when you guys are ready to get into that.
Yeah, no, Micah Parsons and Terry McLaurin. There's two guys in the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Micah Parsons is going to go to the Eagles because they could trade for him. They have the assets to give up to get him, but they don't really need him. As cool as it would be and as awesome as it would be to like puff our chests, like the guy wants $40 million a year. We don't see the Eagles give out contracts like that unless they have, a Saquon Barkley style year, which we just saw him get a $20 million plus a year contract done. I don't think the Eagles are going to give up crazy assets to have him as a rental, and based on kind of the way he's acting in terms of wanting a contract now, I think it's going to be all but assumed that, you're going to have to sign him to whatever he wants. And I'm sure there's a team out there that's going to do it and will give up the assets and give him his money and so on and so forth. It's fun to watch everybody panic, but I don't think it's gonna. Micah Parsons is coming to Philadelphia.
I could see Micah Parsons being the one exception here that might actually go to another team. And it's solely because I don't know if they think that the Cowboys are actually there. Like, he's probably the one person on their defense I can name right now. That's not true. I know a couple more. But
they still have Diggs hanging around.
Yeah, but he's coming off the injuries. Like, he missed the entirety of
Who's the corner that has more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts?
Deron Bland. Like, I can name some of their defensive players, so I was a little misleading there. But
it's okay, everyone. Jack knows ball.
They're not that good. Like, they're just not a team that can compete with the Eagles or the Commanders or much of the NFC. So what are we even talking about there? Maybe it's worth it for them to get rid of Micah, try to see if they can get some assets for the future. I saw, you know me, I'm always going to bring in the Jaguars. I saw somebody bringing up trade, we should get Micah Parsons here in Jacksonville, give up Trayvon Walker and a first-round pick, and I wanted to punch that person through the screen.
Yeah, we know how much you love Trayvon Walker, but the thing I think, and this may not be that controversial of a take, but I think the Cowboys with Micah Parsons are a better team than the Commanders would be without Terry McLaurin, than the Commanders would be with Terry McLaurin. I butchered that.
Dude, what?
You did butcher that.
So say Micah Parsons goes to the Cowboys and Terry McLaurin leaves the Commanders. I think the Cowboys are much better in that scenario. I think it's more important for the Commanders to sign Terry McLaurin. If the Commanders don't sign Terry McLaurin, they're not going to be better than the Cowboys with Micah Parsons. That still doesn't make much sense in my head. It made more sense in my head than I'm saying right now.
I kind of see what you're saying. You're saying, like, if both of them just stay where they are, the Commanders are better than the Cowboys. But
yes,
if the Commanders lose Terry McLaurin and the Cowboys keep Micah Parsons, they're better?
Yes, the Cowboys, I think, leap over the Commanders there. So I think it's more important for the Commanders to keep Terry McLaurin than it would be for the Cowboys to keep a Micah Parsons. I don't think it matters as much to the Cowboys to keep a Micah Parsons. My brain did not.
I think it matters for both teams to keep them. I think that's like a no shit statement. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe whoever loses to one or the other, the other team's probably going to be a little bit better. They're both the superstars of the team. I would say maybe this is where you can go with it. Micah Parsons is more of a superstar than Terry McLaurin is. Is that a hot take?
I think that's fair, but I think Terry McLaurin means more to the Commanders than a Micah Parsons would be to the Cowboys.
It's always tough to compare offense to defense like that. Does Micah Parsons mean more to the Cowboys defense than Terry McLaurin does to the Commanders offense?
I would argue that they're both the biggest pieces of their respective units. Outside of Jaden Daniels being the quarterback, but that's always the most important. So I think Terry McLaurin is the most important piece of that Commanders offense, and I think that Micah Parsons is the most important piece of that Cowboys defense. And I think that's also why we're sitting here talking about them, why they're holding out, why they want that money. It all comes back. They're the best in the game. That's what they do.
I got it now. So it's more important for the Commanders to sign Terry McLaurin. With Terry McLaurin, they can contend to get back to the NFC Championship. Without Terry McLaurin, they're a fringe playoff team. The Cowboys with Micah Parsons are a fringe playoff team. The Cowboys without Micah Parsons are on the outside looking into the playoffs. The drop-off is more for the Commanders. They need to get this done. I think the Cowboys can get more in a package for Micah Parsons, so it makes more sense for the Cowboys to trade their guy that's holding out than it would for the Commanders to get rid of Terry McLaurin.
Did we lose Jack?
Yeah, I don't think he liked my take. He just walked off the show.
Can you hear me? I mean, that was a fire take.
We can hear you,
but we can't see it.
But there's just like a
there you are.
Icon. There we go. We're back. Technical difficulties.
I have no idea what just happened there, but I am all for that. You said it. Finally, you said it well.
Finally, it came together.
I mean, what about James Cook? What do we think about
football
James
season.
Cook?
I think if you want to have this important, I think the Bills can easily survive without him. And I know he's had a great year, and I know his year was awesome. And I know everybody who, maybe got James Cook in the later rounds of fantasy or maybe they got him early and they bid high on him like Brian did with Breece Hall last year, and they looked
You just have to bring that up. We have a fantasy preview today, so you got to get the shots in early. I figured we'd wait until we have Andrew Cooper on to get the shots in, but we can do them now.
Yeah, I mean, it was just I guess a hypothetical scenario, and just trying to compare, because the people who did take James Cook early last year in fantasy, they made out like bandits. So all that's good and dandy. I guess to wrap up my small little rant, the Bills can survive just fine. They're winning that division with or without James Cook.
No doubt. Absolutely have that division wrapped up with or without him. We all know running backs are the most replaceable position in the NFL. Now I'll get
you're talking to you see who you're talking to?
Listen. Look at your running back room.
Saquon Barkley's
That's
an
exactly
anomaly.
what I mean.
Saquon,
the top talent.
Other than that,
means something. But when when we're sitting here talking about, no offense, but like James Cook, no offense to him, I love him. I loved his brother, especially at Florida State. Shout out to Alf. But he's not some special talent like Saquon or Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, those guys are needle movers. Those guys are hard to replace. The average running back, very easy to replace.
Is that the top three right now? Saquon, Bijan, who's number three?
I mean, Derrick Henry's still up there for me for sure. The reason I said those three was I'm already ready for this fantasy talk, and those are the top
three. Three top fantasy.
Three top fantasy.
You said Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs.
I mean, I think James Cook is above average. He's an above average running back.
He's a good running back.
And like Ray Davis is fine. Ray Davis broke some runs last year, but I think there's definitely a drop off there. May not be a big drop off.
I mean, look, they said we don't want to give you a contract. We're gonna bring Gabe Davis back and give him the contract instead, and that's what they did.
That's what they did.
That's what they did.
It's
slap in the face move. Slap in the face move, if you're asking me.
We got Andrew just popped in, Brian.
All right. Yeah, I guess we can we'll wrap up this.
Nothing really to talk about left on those headlines other than, who wins the Micah Parsons sweepstakes.
Anybody but the Eagles.
And I think it's fun to watch the panic.
All right. Well, Jack, you're ready to talk some fantasy football. So let's talk some fantasy football. We have our guest, Mr. Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm, ready to talk some ball with us. So let's get right into it.
Ever the producer, Brian Houck. Look at you, dude, with the transitions coming on in. Heard you guys talking a little Micah Parsons, which is, that's the top 10 player in football flat out. So maybe even New England Patriots as a landing spot. Who knows?
Don't need that in my life.
That would not
make me happy.
I'd be cool with him in the AFC. I don't know, Andrew, if I'm an Eagles fan, and I love to see the panic that everybody has right now that Micah Parsons is potentially on his way to Philadelphia. I don't see it happening. I don't see $40 million a year, Howie giving that out. But it's fun to watch everybody panic for a little bit.
Yeah, it is, man. When you look at the teams that have the money, teams like the Patriots probably would be the kind of spot, because you look at teams like the Lions. Like, if you're the Cowboys, you can't give them to the Eagles. You can't give them to the Lions. You can't give them to any sort of competitor. You lose the whole fan base doing that, right? And the guy's incredible. So I think they get the deal done. Jerry he's got to do the Jerry Jones show first, right? Got to make sure it's all
reality
about him.
TV.
Exactly. Do his Tuesday talk show, and then eventually he'll just give the guy whatever he wants.
And that's what we were saying. There's a lot of holdouts right now. We're thinking just about everybody gets re-signed to their same team. Is there anyone that sticks out that might not?
For most of these guys, because it's like, you look at Terry McLaurin, like, what are you going to do? Let him walk and sign Amari Cooper? You're in the compete now window for your rookie quarterback. Like, of course you're going to sign him. Same with a team like the Bengals with Trey Hendrickson. It's like the Bengals are going to do what they always do, which is keep these guys out of camp for long enough so that they're not ready to play and they lose their first game of the year like they did last year, the Patriots, right? That's a classic Bengals move. You notice how these GMs that have been around for 20 years that are also like the owners of the team, like Jerry, and you've got Brown, you got Duke Tobin, Mickey Loomis. Like, those are always the teams where we sit back and we say, what are you doing? I think it's time for all these teams to bring some young blood, some of these spreadsheet guys, and start figuring things out, because we do this every year and it's the same teams every year.
I think the Giants could have paid off to have the Maras as their GM last offseason.
Yeah, the Giants, dude. You guys definitely the standard of really setting up their players to go knock it down with other teams right now, dude. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch football week 1 last year because I told Matt if Saquon Barkley goes to the Eagles, I won't watch football in week 1 after he said he's going to go there. And literally the next day he signed with Philadelphia.
The next day, dude. Evan Ingram,
24 hours.
Evan Ingram's second most receptions all time for a tight end. I'm sure Daniel Jones is going to crush it now too. But you see it all the time. I mean, like how many you're an Eagles fan. How many players did you guys take from the Saints? And then all of a sudden they're awesome. Like what was Zach Bond doing over there?
In that brood, dude, they were still letting Demario Davis or whatever that linebacker was live out his days down there. So they didn't have any room for the guy, and
they don't play defensive end. It's like they just don't know what they're doing. So kudos to you guys for just letting the guy play. That's all. That's all they needed to do.
Howie's just the standard of excellence you could call for the NFL executive rooms across the NFL, but. Who's the other guy? Not to have an Eagles show, as I'd much love to talk about it, but
I would say right now, anybody coming from that Les Snead GM tree too, right? Like the Rams have Les Snead. Brad Holmes was their head scout. Now he's the back-to-back executive of the year, and that leads us into the Jaguars fan here, James Gladstone, coming from that Les Snead tree. So if I were you, I'd be very excited. Because
I am.
Those guys know what they're doing. One thing I love that they all do this, is they don't even do the top 30 meetings. Did you notice that? Then they asked Gladstone about it. They were like, why don't you do the top 30 meetings? He's like, we have guys going around to every team in the country in college and talking to these people, talking to their teachers, talking to their parents, talking to their teammates, talking to their coaches. What is 1 hour with me going to do to change this extensive research we've done? And then everyone was like, wow. I guess top 30 meetings is kind of stupid, like these guys aren't doing them. So maybe no one should do them.
Well, I appreciate that insight. I didn't know that that's like, how they ran their operations, but I did know that all of our picks, they were like, yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot of communication with the Jaguars, like at all. And that's, I guess, the way we tried to set it up. We don't want to have that communication. We don't want to tip our hand to other teams, let them know who we're picking. We're doing all the research in the background. There's no reason to, expose it up front.
They don't even go to the combine. Like the Rams notoriously send like 3 guys to the combine, and none of them are like GMs, assistant GMs, whatever. Like they don't even go. So I don't know. Guess they got it all figured out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should get into some fantasy football. We have some drafts coming up here. We're talking with Andrew Cooper, Coop A Fiasco on Twitter. 2024 FSWA Football Writer of the Year. You can find his work over at Fantasy Alarm and on SiriusXM 6 to 8 weekdays, where sometimes I will be behind the glass producing.
And sometimes out from the glass when we drag you out to answer questions, dude, which you kind of crush it, dude. So we got to get you.
Unless it's the hot to go player of the week, and then he's probably going to get concussed.
The hot to go player of the week, but nobody's good at that. Maybe Shan. So, yeah.
But my first question to you, you're considered the tight end whisperer on Fantasy Alarm. You have some tight ends that you like this year. Tell me why Theo Johnson is going to finish as a tight end 1 in fantasy football.
Oh my God,
that's crazy. So here's the thing. I will say this. I will say a couple nice things about Theo Johnson. What we want to look for, right? The first thing you want to look for is a guy who can be a top 2 target on his team. That's number 1 with a bullet. They don't even have to be first. The all-time best tight end season of all time was Rob Gronkowski in a year when Wes Welker got 173 targets. Right. We do know it's very rare for 3 guys on the same team to all get 100 targets. Per Pro Football Focus, it's happened once over the last 3 years. And it was actually the Vikings where they traded for TJ Hawkinson. So there's kind of an asterisk on that too. Like for the most part, we want our guy to be the first or second target on the team. Malik Neighbors is number 1 on your team. After that, it's open a little bit. Wandale Robinson got 140 last year, so it's going to be tough to beat him out. After that, we're looking for 2 other things. We're looking for high consolidation. Right. Ideally, teams that use like fullbacks and blocking tight ends. Look at the 49ers, right? Like so much Kyle Juszczyk and Charlie Warner in past years. And this year, Luke Farrell takes the wide receiver 3 out of the game. It's how we got Johnny Smith last year, all that fullback usage and and the blocking tight ends, the more losers on the field that aren't touching the football, the easier it is for our guys to get the football, right? And then the third thing is athleticism, and that's what Theo Johnson does. He's athletic. Okay, I knew you were gonna point at that. He's not like crazy fast, but size, speed, score is really good. So again, the bet on him is not even necessarily betting on the quarterback to be really good, but you're betting on the quarterback to like throwing it to two guys, Malik Neighbors and Theo Johnson. I do worry that Wandale and Darius Slayton could be in the mix there, so not necessarily a guy I'm going after, but I was able to at least use that situation to explain what we are looking for.
Yeah, and one of the guys that seems to have that, at least you're convinced so, Jatavion Sanders down in Carolina, who Matt believes that team might be going to the Super Bowl this year.
Super Bowl, I wouldn't say Super Bowl, but I did have them as a sneaky playoff team at a bad NFC South.
That's a great point. Bad NFC South. You go back to last year too. I mean, they were taking good teams to the wire, right? Like your Eagles. You
I mean, that was their rookie wide receiver. The Southern Bowl
catches the ball.
Catch the ball. That's
barely missed it. Yeah, he had the bad. Yeah, I love listening to Xavier Leggett talk, dude. He's dude. When they had him in Germany and they had him like trying like different foods, he's like, I don't know what any of this is, man. I just want to be back home eating Pearl. You know, he's incredible. And they also took the Chiefs to the wire, so not entirely crazy. And when you look at that team, you've got, think about the bets we like to make. I don't want to bet on somebody coming out and getting more targets than Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Like in that case, the only out is an injury because like no one's going to flat out get more targets than T. Higgins. Definitely not going to flat out get more targets than Jamar Chase. When we're betting, we like to bet on or against rookies. Right? Like rookies like Ted McMillan. He could be awesome. He could be not awesome. We like to bet against guys who are 34 years old, like Adam Thielen. Undrafted guys like Jalen Coker. Xavier Leggett, guys who have never once caught a football without jumping in the air. It's like these, I don't know what he's doing, where he was taught that, but I mean, that led him to be outside the top 200 players in yak per reception. He jumps every time. It's crazy. I've got the highlights and stuff. There's an article on Fantasy Alarm. If you type Fantasy Alarm, Xavier Leggett, I pulled clips. I mean, he can't stop doing it. And if he doesn't figure out that soon, he's going to be the next Preston Williams. So when you're looking for places to bet and who could possibly emerge, maybe it will be Jatavion Sanders. Tommy Tremble had back surgery this offseason on the PUP list now. He's getting a lot of love in camp. And again, so cheap that it doesn't matter to us. You know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, in 2022, I wrote an article about Evan Engram, just encouraging people saying, hey, Doug Peterson knows how to use this guy as a big slot. He's going off the board at tight end 24. No matter what format you're in, very last pick of your draft, let's see what happens. You know, it's like situations like that with I'm not saying go and draft him as your starting tight end, but we use a little something called yin and yang tight end where you wait, you take somebody that you can start for the first few weeks that you trust, you know, like a Tucker Kraft, and then you use your very last bench spot on the highest risk, highest reward guy out there. And it just so happens that Tucker Kraft has the earliest bye week of any tight end at week 5. So you're going to need to pick somebody up over that first month anyway. So there's little moves like that to try and create leverage.
What you were just saying, just trying to make some leverage at the end there.
Right. So just trying to create leverage. It's like, here's the thing about, and people used to say never draft 2 tight ends. But, and again, if you have only like 4 bench spots, maybe not. But in the modern era, you get the most out of spending your early picks on running back and wide receiver. So if you're going to start your draft with 9 straight rounds of running back and wide receiver, you can afford to use your very last bench spot on a second tight end. And it's not that this is the easiest year ever to do it because there's guys like Evan Engram and Tucker Kraft sitting there that are guys you can start week 1. Maybe they don't have the craziest, most exciting upside. And then you can circle back and grab any number of guys that, you know, go for fast guys like, you know, Kyle Pitts or Dalton Kincaid, who could potentially get something done, especially now that Khalil Shakir's got the high ankle sprain. I mean, in the early rounds, we ask ourselves why are we spending up on this guy? In the later rounds, ask yourself why not, right? Like, why can't this guy be a top 2 target on this team? So that's a game.
Let me butt in and ask you one thing. Speaking of taking guys, you know, thinking about why spend up on a high upside tight end earlier on in the draft. I think anywhere you look right now, it's going Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and then George Kittle. What's the case to not put Kittle at 1? Is it just the age?
So I have no problem with Kittle at 1. I think Kittle is closer to that tier than he is to the next tier for sure. Kittle could be at 1. The one case for it is that we don't have to do it. If you're out there trying to win the Fantasy Pros draft rankings challenge contest, then you got to figure that out. You got to decide if you want to do that or not. Everybody else, you don't have to do that. You don't have to draft him before Bowers or McBride because, like you said, it almost always goes in that order. And for me, I'm not really drafting a tight end in the first 3 rounds just because, historically speaking, especially in any sort of full PPR, right? Let's just consider the first 2 rounds. That's where we get players that flat out score like 400 points. The top, CeeDee Lamb, last year, Jamar Chase scored 400 points. CeeDee Lamb scored 400 points. These running backs can score insane points. The best tight end season of all time is 330 points. Travis Kelce, his 3 best seasons average out to just over 300, right? I think his best season ever is 317. So you look at Brock Bowers last year, where in points per game, he was the flex player number 35. If you draft him at pick 18 where he goes and he does what he did last year, positional scarcity be damn, that's still a bad pick. You're drafting him there, expecting him to be prime Travis Kelce, flat out. Which for me, I look at it and say, hey, you know what? He could be. But he's 22 years old. If he turns out to be prime Travis Kelce, then I'll have a million years to draft him. And even if he does come out, let's say he comes out and has 330 points, positional scarcity might not even make up for the possibility that Drake London or somebody comes out and has 400. So for me, what I do every year is I make a big list of players that I think could score 350 points, basically be a top 5 or top 5 wide receiver or running back. And I draft those players first. And this year, that list is at least 30 players long. And it just means I'm not typically drafting a tight end in the first 2 or 3 rounds. Just not happening. I don't draft a quarterback until that list is gone too, because it's just, historically speaking, those are the league winners. These guys that can come out and be the number 1 flex player in all of fantasy football. And the list of people that could do that is pretty long when you start thinking about it.
Is Breece Hall on that list? Because he burned me last year very, very badly.
He did, but he's on the list. He is on the list. I mean, I know you don't have to draft him in the first round, but I mean, this is a player that's never really been bad. The situation wasn't good. He's definitely been banged up, but I mean, when you look at, especially in full PPR, this is a guy that can go out and easily clear 100 targets. And we've seen guys like Kamara and Eckler. They've never had 1,000 yards rushing. So these pass catching backs in any sort of PPR, I mean, that upside's always going to be there. Look at Devon Achane, came out with 87 targets last year, playing a ton of slot. That could be Breece Hall easily. Who's the second best wide receiver? Let me ask you guys. Who's the second best wide receiver on that team right now?
On the Dolphins?
On the Jets.
Oh.
After Garrett Wilson. If you had to pick one, if you were going to actually, if you had to pick one to be on your real life NFL team, which one of those guys would you want after Garrett Wilson?
Maybe Malachi Corley. I have a soft spot for him. He hit some overs for me at Western Kentucky. So
it's Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is Lazard still there? That would be.
It really is Breece Hall.
That's what I mean. It is Breece Hall. Mason. Then another reason to potentially bet on Mason Taylor too is that we don't they got their back against the ropes. That's kind of one of the best spots to gamble on pass catchers, right? So yeah, Breece Hall on that list. That again, my list is probably longer than other people's because so there are some players I believe in, and I know that I can create leverage at the tight end position later and the quarterback position too. Two of the positions that it's easiest to find guys from outside the top 12 that really make a huge impact. I mean, happens all the time at quarterback. At tight end for 13 straight years now, someone's come from outside the top 18 or later in tight end ADP to finish top 5. Evan Engram twice, Darren Waller, maybe Theo Johnson. I'm not gonna rule it out, dude. Because the thing is, sometimes that's all. One injury is all it takes. What happens if their plan is to come out and have target distribution like last year, and Wan'Dale Robinson week 1 breaks his leg, 140 targets in the pool. It's last year with Johnny Smith, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were just banged up enough where Johnny Smith came from tight end 20 something ADP to finish tight end 4 or 3, depending on your format. So they're out there, brother.
Yeah, I love grabbing the tight ends late, dude. I always create some value there. I think I got Kraft last year late. Sam Laporta, I think the year before that.
the one of the drafts, you got Laporta after I took Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, Brian was all over
Like the last two
Musgrave.
ones.
Because I was going to go with one or the other, and I was shocked he didn't go with Laporta.
You guys got a tight end whisperer on your hands as well, I see. I like that.
Yeah,
Dude.
I love
Laporta was on the list. Exactly tight end 18 he was.
Yeah, so definitely. And now I guess I'll not necessarily as that much maybe breakout capacity that this guy might have, but based on Dallas Goedert's injury history, I think Grant Calcaterra could be very sneaky. You're talking about picking that last guy in the draft. I think he's somebody. It would be tough to roster him and justify him, but Dallas Goedert, I mean, this guy who can't stay healthy. Grant Calcaterra. I don't know if you've seen him play last year, but made some really nice plays.
Yeah, he's solid, man. He does very similar things to Goddard. I think that's how they were able to push Goddard to kind of renegotiate his deal and try and be a little friendly with it. The thing about that situation is Goddard is that any one of those three players at the top, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, they're capable of monster games if someone gets hurt. Like Goddard last year, that game AJ Brown missed, and then Devonta Smith left. I think it was in like the third quarter, and Goddard had 170 yards.
Yeah,
because they know who their top guys are and they're willing to lean into those guys. The problem with drafting Goddard is what you point out. Okay, how many he's missed games in 6 straight seasons now?
Yeah. And somebody's going to draft him, maybe not high. At least our league, a lot of Eagles fans. So that always
somebody always drafts Goddard because you're supposed to.
Right.
He's never finished top 10, but it's one of those picks where you're sitting there on the clock and you're like, oh, I don't have a tight end, and you draft him because you're supposed to. And I
don't know what is he still in that big board of top 4 or 5 right now? I don't know.
No, man, he's going outside the top 12. So again, now he becomes a yin and yang tight end play where like if you wait, you draft Goddard and you can start him week 1. You know he's going to offer a floor. He has the out of someone potentially getting hurt. And then what you do is you take a bench spot and you take just a crazy risk with it, So Goddard, that's how the whole yin and yang tight end strategy works. It's like you got these group of safe but boring guys where I put like Goddard, Hunter Henry, Tucker Kraft, that crew that have some upside to them though too. But you're not going to lose the first 4 weeks of your season, because the thing that happens with a lot of these tight ends that break out is that they're not startable early on. Trey McBride behind Zach Ertz was not startable. Right. Logan Thomas, the year he broke out, was tight end 26 through 6 weeks. And then he finished as tight end 3. Jonnu Smith last year started his season with, you look at his first 4 games. In 3 of those games, he had 1 catch, 2 catches, and 0 catches. Unstartable players. Right. So it's like you want to have him on the bench and you don't want to be rushing to get him off the wire, but you can't start them. That's why it's like you go and get somebody you can start and get somebody, use 1 bench spot on high upside. That's the play.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I did want to shift over. You briefly name dropped Alvin Kamara. I got him last year, I think in the 4th or 5th round. This is a guy in years past who was a top 20 pick, I think, for so long. He slipped a bit last year, kind of rolled back the clock, and we saw a really nice year out of Kamara. Is there anybody on your radar? I know it's a pretty big loaded question, so maybe if you want to stick to running back, that's fine. That's a little bit older, but can still drop, maybe top 10 by the position points this year. That's on your radar. People aren't thinking about, I don't know, but Kamara just kind of filled that last year.
Yeah, Kamara absolutely could be that guy once again. I think at wide receiver, a guy, and again, he's kind of getting steam as of late, but a guy like Devontae Adams. Basically, what I do with the older guys is you ask yourself, like, is this a Hall of Fame caliber player?
Because there's value there sometimes.
Right. The difference at the end of the day, and for Hall of Fame or not, ends up being longevity in a lot of these cases. Unless you're just like Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson, and you're just so good just so insanely good that you can retire at 29 or 30. You look at the list of guys, they play at a high level to the 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, right? And guys like Marvin Harrison Sr., Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, who doesn't count, but Jerry Rice, they have their best seasons a lot of times after the age of 30. Like Randy Moss had his best season ever with the Patriots, 23 touchdowns. Jerry Rice had his best season at 34 years old, so Larry Fitzgerald was good for forever. Anquan Bolden, Steve Smith. So ask yourself, is this a Hall of Fame caliber player? Because he'll probably not stop being good. Devontae Adams has gotten 10 targets a game for the last 7 straight years on 3 different teams. He was handpicked by Sean McVay and recruited. He's going to that spot. I don't see, even if he were to drop to 8 targets a game, what is that? 130 something targets? Like, he'll be worth his ADP, even if he gets 2 fewer targets a game. And him and Puka Nacua can both get peppered. The only concern I have right now is the Matthew Stafford back situation. But I mean, even if it's Jimmy G, dude, I mean, I could see this guy just still getting 7, 8, 9 targets a game. So I'm not. Devontae Adams is the exact kind of guy where people are scared about the age. I'm not. And Alvin Kamara, once again, I'll draft him. I'm not scared of him either.
I love to hear it.
Do you remember what happened at the end of that Randy Moss 23 touchdown season?
I do. I have vague memory of some bad officiating that is going to land Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame, dude.
Well, Miles Jack wasn't down either, but
Eli Manning stole, dude. He straight up stole Phillip Rivers' legacy. I'm telling you right now. Eli was supposed to be on the Chargers. Phillip Rivers was supposed to be on the Giants, dude, and they totally rug pulled that whole situation and stole his life, dude.
Well, it worked out for my childhood. So I'll take it.
You would have been happy with Rivers too. Rivers is like 6th all time in passing yards. You would have been fine. You would have fine no matter what.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, or Drew Brees the Chargers also sent Drew Brees over to the Saints. Like, anybody that just dealt with the Chargers during that period did just fine.
Absolutely. All right, I got another one for you. So you've earned a lot of respect in the fantasy industry. I want you to set the standard here now. Should Travis Hunter get points for his defensive stats and defensive reps, or should it just be offense?
See, this is one of those questions where you know what's most fun, right? We know what's most fun, but you have to, if you want to do it, you have to make it so it doesn't break the league. Scott Fish did it in the Scott Fish Bowl. It could ruin the league potentially. I think that, and again, I don't play a ton of IDP, but I think if you really want to do that, then you got to introduce IDP and kind of play it that way. But it would be so much fun. I think that, I mean, like, he should definitely get points. If there was a way to set it where he could get points for pick sixes, at least, I think that would be nice, right? Points for tackles, though, is that's a little much.
Yeah.
What if we did it where he got points for whatever you get points for DST? So like,
he got
points for kickback.
I think it'd be reasonable if it was like sacks, interceptions, and touchdowns, and like that's how your DST scoring worked. Then maybe. But the thing is, then now all of a sudden you got to give that to everybody, which there is a little bit of that sometimes goes on. Not a ton, but every once in a while you send somebody back, they get an interception or some
the old Julio Jones interceptions.
Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski has a couple, So, but I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I think that might be the way to do it.
So this is a big headache for me because in our home league, me and Matt, we put in solo tackles as like a little Easter egg forever ago. So if your quarterback throws an interception and then your receiver tackles the guy, you get a point. So now it's like, do we have to get rid of that because Travis Hunter is going to be a player now? So
I don't know. Yeah, that is tough, dude. If people aren't paying attention, you definitely got to take Hunter like 1 overall.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be paying attention. And as soon as Travis Hunter has like a 5 tackle game, I will get the brunt of the annoyance.
Yeah. I think you leave it, dude. That's the standard's been set, dude. It's out of your hands.
All right, Matt, you heard it.
Yeah, we have if the player gets a tackle, it's +1. So I don't think anything changes there. It's just Hunter.
And +1, that's fine.
See, I know I'm just gonna have to bring it up at the draft though, because it's gonna happen where someone loses a game. People have lost games on solo tackles before, and someone's gonna lose a game because Travis Hunter has like 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know. I mean, Calvin Ridley's still probably gonna have a bunch too, So.
He probably will, but no, I don't know. What Travis Hunter, he was drafted number 3, and
2.
They already number 2. My bad, sorry. And was being introduced on the offense before he is the defense. So I think he might be just fine, sticking with offensive stats this year. In a year where Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how you are with the betting stuff. I brought it up a couple of shows ago. Over under only like 20.5 or 21.5 for total touchdowns thrown. If you want to bet on no injuries, I think that is an easy number for him to hit with Brian Thomas Jr. and now Travis Hunter. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I think so as well. There are some shocking ones on there. Definitely, when I was looking at it, I do put in some props myself. And I also use it to do my fantasy football research as well. Because I mean, I pull it up every year. I've been posting an article since 2021. There are so many more props now than there were in 2021, 2022. Let me tell you, the last 2 years has been an explosion to the point where you can, with wide receivers, especially, you can go in and pull receptions, yards, touchdowns, and actually figure out a point protection for, besides a couple of these guys like Deebo Samuel and, Xavier Worthy and Jane Reed, they're getting like 20 carries. Like a lot of these guys, you can figure out what Vegas is saying, and we use that to our advantage. With a guy like Trevor Lawrence, like I'm willing to bet the overs on those because I think they're low. With guys like Justin Fields, have you guys seen his passing yard total?
He's like 3 for 300 in training camp, so I don't know if I want to trust Justin Fields at all.
So here's how crazy that is, which really has me scared about Garrett Wilson a bit, is that every quarterback is set at a minimum 3,000 yards. Every single one, Bryce Young, Cam Ward, whoever, except Justin Fields, his over-under set at 2,500. Like 500 fewer than the next worst. And some of these guys, like Joe Burrow and the gang, are set at like 4,000. You know what I mean? So like, they're basically projecting him to fail. That's what that line is.
There really are so many factors that go into that low line, though. Like he doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. Aaron Glenn, you would think, wants to run the football, play defense, not really toss the rock that much. Justin Fields runs a lot. He could get injured that way, miss some games. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he won't even hit 2,500. So I'm staying clear away from that.
I'm not betting on it. The only one I have in for quarterbacks for this year is I did bet and you'll like this, I bet the over on Jalen Hurts at 3,200 passing yards. I think he does much. I think he clears that easily. If he had just like last year, he had a couple games where he left early. He had the final game where like he didn't play. Like I think if he just does what he did last year and plays every game, he would clear that pretty easily. He's definitely, to me, not a guy that throws for 3,200 yards unless everything goes exactly perfect like he did last year. I think that team is due for some regression towards more passing. So I do have that one in there.
I love to hear it on Jalen Hurts.
Easy one.
Yeah, I could definitely. I could see that happen, and you make a good point where everything needs to go right for that to not happen. Right. Because everything did go right last year. They handed the ball off 30 times a game to Saquon and whoever else they had back there. It was just that was the end of it. They didn't need to throw the ball that much.
And Saquon was chasing a record too. So like if you really think about it, if you're in these situations, you're not going to throw it to Saquon. You're going to hand it to him because the passing yards doesn't count, right? And anyone that watched these games last year knows that, especially down the stretch, that was abnormal behavior. When you guys beat the Cowboys in the second game by like 1 trillion, and how many carries did Saquon get in that game? 30? You know what I mean? Kenny Pickett was in the game, and he was getting carries in the fourth quarter when you guys are up by 3 scores. It's like, can't tell me that they weren't trying to chase a record there. Those last,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean? He was going to get it anyway, but that allowed him to get to 2,000 yards and sit out the last game of the year. Those last 4 games that Saquon played in, dude, he got an insane number of receptions, insane number of carries. He only got four total receptions, I think it was. Just the natural regression towards maybe throwing to Barkley a little bit more. You're going to get Jalen Hurts is going to get all those yards too, the passing yards to Barkley and those guys. So yeah, I think that I usually bet unders because you have more outs when you bet unders, but that one I took the over.
Yeah, one of those games that the Eagles lost that Jalen Hurts left early was to my guy, Jaden Daniels, and the Washington Commanders. I like Jaden Daniels so much that they're convinced I like the Commanders more than I like the Giants now. But he was probably the breakout quarterback star of last year's fantasy season, at least, and really regular season. He won Rookie of the Year. But is there a guy you're kind of targeting this year? Is that role? And you can't say Drake May.
Well, the answer is Drake May, so let's just get that out of the way right now. The thing is, where Jaden Daniels is being drafted, like the obvious candidates of like Bo Nix and Kyler Murray, they go earlier than where he goes. So, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say, like Drake May, like Jaden Daniels was getting some steam at the end, but he was still like getting picked outside the top 10 QBs for the most part, right? So, like you could say Bo Nix, you could say Kyler Murray as kind of back end QB1s, but the answers are Drake May and Justin Fields. But I don't think Justin Fields has the passing chops. Drake May definitely has that opportunity. If we're not looking for mobility, then the best bet is probably JJ McCarthy. Like JJ McCarthy, like if you wanted to look at like extreme upside cases, there's very rarely situations where we very rarely get situations where you have a good quarterback getting drafted to a good team, right? Like it's just because of the way it works, it's usually the top quarterbacks go to the terrible teams. Cam Ward has to play for the Titans, who came in dead last, right? So like very rarely do you have a team that gets a quarterback that's already good, and then he gets an opportunity and he's very good right from the rip. Jalen Hurts behind Carson Wentz as a second-round pick. The biggest and best example would be the Chiefs were going to the playoffs every year with Alex Smith, winning 10 games, 12 games. And then, the last year that Alex Smith was the starter when Patrick Mahomes was on the bench, he was like QB3 in fantasy football. I think people forget that like Alex Smith was awesome that year in fantasy, but they moved on from him and went to Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes inherited this really good team, and he threw 50 touchdown passes, right? JJ McCarthy just so happens to be inheriting a team where the quarterback last year got MVP votes. MVP votes. So if JJ McCarthy is even just decent, throwing to Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison only going to miss 3 games with the suspension, like very real possibility that he doesn't even have to be great. He just has to be good. And that's 35 touchdown passes. I see you guys snickering over there.
Yeah, I'm a big.
That's been a big debate about Sam Darnold.
Who's in, who's out? Because I will say I will now admit that I quietly still like Sam Darnold.
I was in on him as well.
One at a time, boys. All right, so I want to hear this. I want to hear a quick breakdown. Brian, you brought me on. You start.
So I think this was a conversation that got brought up when we were talking about Justin Jefferson in receiver last year, and I said Sam Darnold throws a great ball, and Jack did not like that comment. And I think he still throws a great ball. He might not be a great quarterback, but he throws a very catchable ball to wide receivers.
And so that was preseason. As he rolled through 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, I was like, we know the name Sam Darnold. It's a meme, whatever. The guy's playing like an MVP. Jack didn't like that either.
He got the votes, dude. The votes were there.
He's going
to win it this year.
The wheels fell off in a horrific way, but fantasy football was over at that point. So, all right. Jack, well, I mean, what do you think, dude?
I'm out. I'm so out on Sam Darnold. I grew up in the New York area. I watched Sam Darnold with the Jets. I saw him see ghosts. The only reason he had success last year is you look at that team, you look at what Kevin O'Connell's been able to do. There was just no way he could fail. I truly believe that.
Leaving the Jets is like the secret formula to win comeback player of the year, though. Like, I mean, Geno Smith won. Joe Flacco was your quarterback. Then he won. Sam Darnold, like, they changed the rules because Sam Darnold was going to win. So I don't know if I buy that, dude. I don't know if I buy that.
Aaron Rodgers is a lock then this year for comeback player of the year.
Dude, I just saw a clip of Aaron Rodgers, and he looks like the Tin Man out there. It was. I know his job is to just stand back there and shotgun and let it ride, but I mean the mobility is on zero right now.
So you're out on comeback.
I don't know. I think you're right. The formula might be just leave. The formula's there. It's true though. It could be. It could be. I don't know. I think that team's going to be doing a lot of running of the football. I would be scared, like, that running attack. If Caleb Johnson's any good, they're going to be going out there with, like, 7 tight ends playing fullback. DK Metcalf is a house. You know what I mean? Like, that is going to be – if you're a nickel corner, playing that team is a nightmare, dude. Like, 180-pound nickel corner. Like, you just got to take those guys out of the game. They're just going to get run over. Absolutely.
Do they play the Eagles this year? Cooper DeJean may think he's back on a scout team in Iowa.
They played last year in Philly, so I'm
Let me
not
pull it up.
sure.
I got it here.
I'm not sure if they run it
I keep
back.
my banner on my desktop background is the schedule with every team. So no, they do not play that. Always, that's a little trick of the trade right there.
There, whenever you need it, Brian, take notes.
Yeah, there you go.
I might have to do
I
that.
just minimize. I have two screens up, and then I just minimize one, and the schedule's right there every time. That's been one of my biggest podcast tricks. We're doing some tricks on the show.
Yeah, we need them. But another, hopefully.
Wait, let me ask Jack. Are you out on JJ McCarthy?
I'm not out on JJ McCarthy. I'm not. I think. Look, with what we saw from Sam Darnold last year, there's no reason anybody should be doubting JJ McCarthy. I mean, he's younger, maybe not fresher coming off the injury, but you think he'd be fine. He's still young enough where he's going to bounce back from that pretty good. The cast hasn't changed. It's looking good. You brought up earlier, Addison's only out for 3 games. That doesn't move a needle for me. And Kevin O'Connell's still calling the shots there. So I'm all in on this offense. Aaron Jones, shout out Aaron Jones. I was out on Aaron Jones going into last season. Thought he sort of hit his age cliff. He was awesome last year.
He had more.
Mason looks pretty good.
Yeah,
he does too. But I'm
that's part of
still.
it. But Aaron Jones last year, I mean, like crazy stat. Justin Jefferson had the second most receiving yards behind only Jamar Chase last year. Aaron Jones had more yards from scrimmage than Justin Jefferson. He led that team in yards from scrimmage. Yes. Very quietly, he was like the whole team, dude. So like Jordan Addison can take some of that work and he can probably still be pretty good. But Jordan Mason. I am a little worried about Jordan Mason with the 1-2 punch there. But I think Aaron Jones is still going to catch plenty of passes.
Yeah, I mean, there's reason to be worried about Aaron Jones coming into this year, like you said, because of that tread too of last year. But no, the whole point was to say I'm all in on this Vikings offense, and especially JJ McCarthy. I think that he could have a great season, both fantasy and real life.
Right.
At the end of the day, I think that they could go further than what I had faith in last year because I knew Sam Darnold, that ceiling was going to cap out, and he's not winning playoff games. He's not winning Super Bowls. JJ McCarthy, that unknown is better.
Right.
Jack, are you rooting for JJ McCarthy to fail? I'm rooting for him to fail. I'm still mad at him about the Washington game. So we had a future. We squad rode Washington.
This is Auburn? This is Auburn beef?
No, this is
no.
Just we had a college football future. Was it 2 years ago when they won?
Oh, this is a random bet. Okay.
Yeah, and we all took Washington to win.
This is like borderline, like he stripped away a generational future run is what he stripped away. I mean, we bet Washington Huskies to win the national championship, week 4 of that season? Yeah, or whatever it was, maybe a little later, but we got good odds. That was our pick of the year. And
and this was like Mike, what year? This is like Michael Penix, Roman.
Yeah, it's some Michael Penix
Washington years ago.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah. Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk. Like, yeah, that team was sick, right?
Yeah. Sat through that whole Texas game, live streamed it. We're going crazy, and then they just get the doors blown off against Michigan.
Yeah. So
I think
that was tough.
Maybe you got to draft him in a couple fantasy leagues, win some money. If you win Best Ball Mania drafting JJ McCarthy, you can forgive him then, because you'll have gotten your money back.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have to do that. But you did say Auburn, so now I have to talk about Auburn.
Okay.
I'm
not even a college football guy at all, so go ahead.
well, no, Auburn players in the NFL.
Good.
So there's a running back battle going on in Duval between Tank Bigsby, War Eagle. Jack, I'm mad we missed it when he said Bo Nix earlier. We missed our War Eagle.
Didn't even realize. I didn't want to cut him off.
Big fans.
Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, and what is Tootin's first name?
Bashal
Tootin. Yeah.
I can't wait for the first Iron Eagle pun about him tooting in the wind when he scores a touchdown. But,
dude, Iron Eagle's awesome. I'll say that right now. He's a legend, dude. His dad's a legend. He's he's one of those ones where it's like it's not nepotism. He might be better than his dad.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He's great. He's incredible.
Without really the dad, he would have got there anyway.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's how I feel. He just would have, he helped him get there. But it's like Peyton Manning and Archie Manning. Archie Manning was solid, but Peyton Manning was a real deal. It's Iron Eagle, man. This guy's going to be one of the GOATs. But anyway, back to the Jaguars running back.
Well, Jack hates another Nepo announcer, Joe Buck. He's probably the biggest Joe Buck hater. in this show.
Yeah.
But which Jaguars running back do you want to own this year?
So for me, it's been the same answer going back months. I look at Liam Cohen, right, and what he did in Tampa Bay, which is that he had no allegiances to anyone, right? He didn't care that Rachaad White was the incumbent. He got everything rolling. He had Rachaad White, Bucky Irving, and Sean Tucker. Those were his options. And by the end of the day, Bucky Irving was so efficient running the ball, which was surprising because Bucky Irving was the best pass catching back out of that class. He was so efficient running the ball that he became the starting running back for the team. Rachaad White was operating on passing downs, and then Sean Tucker would come in to mop up blowout, right? Like, I know you can't just one for one the formula, but last year, while that was happening, Tank Bigsby was outplaying Travis Etienne. On the season, had not only better yards per carry, but he just flat out ended up with more carries. He was the more efficient back, no question about it. And this year, the ultimate upside case is this mysterious guy, Bashal Tootin, comes in, James Gladstone, with magic wishing dust that found Kyron Williams and all that, and Puka Nacua and all these guys. He's just incredible, right? That would be great. That would be the best. But what I think is most likely to happen is that Bashal Tootin gets eased in a little bit and maybe even ends up just playing that Sean Tucker third man, next man up role, in which case Tank Bigsby is probably going to be the starting running back for this team. And whoever the starting running back is, in most cases, based on research we've seen from Nathan Yankee over at PFF, they have more running back 1 week. They have more running back 2 weeks. They have the best upside overall. They're the most consistent for fantasy. So I think Tank. Right now, I'm picking. If I was on the clock and all three guys are sitting there, I'm picking Tank Bigsby. And I don't even have to do that because a lot of times he goes after it.
I love to hear that.
We
need an opportunity.
What I said, long story short, War Eagle.
War Eagle, baby. War Eagle. This guy gets it.
We're clipping that. The first Auburn win of the year.
I'm figuring out. Yeah, long story short.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But, dude, I have so I don't, I'm in a high school league with Brian. I have the first overall pick, which is not the greatest thing. Means you were the worst team last year, and that's
throwing tomatoes at him at the draft.
That's a whole different conversation because I finished borderline 500, and there's a tomato bowl, and it's whatever. It's a flawed system.
An actual tomato bowl.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the whole thing.
We'll be throwing tomatoes at his back right before the draft.
For the record, Brian had a worse record than I did, but whatever.
Just got to be better in the tomato bracket.
It's what we do. Whatever. Anyway, I have the number one pick. We got league winners: Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley. Those guys won leagues last year. Who am I picking at number one? I know Jamar's there. I know Bijan Robinson's there. Saquon Barkley's not as high as I thought he'd be. As an Eagles fan, do I be biased and just double down on the best running back in football?
So the prudent thing to do is to go for the player that has the fewest moving parts, the fewest chance for regression, and that is Jamar Chase. We don't want guys like look at Justin Jefferson. I'm actually ranking Jefferson third after CeeDee Lamb just because even as a believer in J.J. McCarthy, too many variables for my first round pick. I don't want any variables. I want Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow had 400 PPR points. CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott had 400 PPR points. So those guys I'm picking. So the thing about Saquon Barkley, and shout out to JJ Zach Reese, and obviously a legendary analyst, he pointed out that historically speaking, this whole thing about regression with Saquon Barkley and guys that get over 300 carries and like 400 touches isn't even about injury. They don't need to have injury just to follow up their extraordinary season with a more normal season. That's the part that we forget is that we think that, think of it this way. I talked about this on his podcast with him. This was the example I gave. Let's say Brian goes out one day and he shoots a 79 in golf, right? And
probably never going to happen.
But let's say it does one day, right? So then you would the people saying Saquon Barkley is going to do the same thing he did last year, this year. That would be like saying, Brian, we're going to go out tomorrow and you're probably going to shoot a 79 again, right? Whereas typical regression would mean that you're probably going to shoot over 100, or maybe maybe you shoot 120. You don't have to blow your knee out on the golf course to just play worse than your best ever, all-time tremendously great season. And that's the regression that you do to some degree have to account for. Now, I'm not going to move the guy all the way down, but I'm also not going to move him all the way up. I think that It's like I still think we got to go for the guys who consistently are in the position to just churn out points, right? Which is to me like guys like Chase and Lamb, and also Saquon is still up there. Like if you want to take him as the RB1, go right ahead. If you want to take Bijan or Gibbs or any of those guys there as well.
Well, I'm talking number one outright. There's nobody selected yet. Nobody is selected.
In here that it should be Jamar. I know in here it's Saquon Barkley, but that in here it should be.
Of course. And I agree with the whole regression thing. But the thing I have to ask is why is it so easy to pin that regression on Saquon Barkley, but Jamar Chase is still the outright guy?
Because historically speaking, running back is one position where it's very difficult to get that volume because it's out of your control to many degrees. Also, the running back position, the last time we saw the RB1 repeat as the RB1 was Priest Holmes. You have to go back to that far. Whereas we've seen, I watched Antonio Brown be the best wide receiver in fantasy football for 4 straight seasons. And when these wide receivers aren't, the one, they're still usually pretty good. Like CeeDee Lamb went from being the wide receiver 1 to still being very good. Like it's just one of those situations where the targets are more. It's easier to depend on the target volume and all that versus and also a fairly injury prone position. So for me, you're splitting hairs at the top. That's the way I split them. And I'm not sure if you're allowed to trade back, but that's what I would try and do in your league is if you wanted to take somebody else. But if I'm picking one, I'm picking Chase.
What's the value?
Just take Chase. I can't deal with watching the Bengals again for a full season.
What's the value compensation package I'm looking at in a trade back situation? I've never had this conversation before, so I'm very interested to hear this.
So difficult to gauge, and it's very league dependent. But you're basically usually when I see it where it actually ends up fair is you're not trading like your first and second round pick. It's like you're trading a pick swap later on in the draft a little bit. So like you basically move back from 1 to 5, and then round 3 or 4 you're like swapping those picks.
Move up.
That person gets the better of those picks because like I've never seen it work out where I've never seen every single time I've seen somebody trade away their first round pick for multiple later picks. The team that gets 2 first round picks is just better.
Yeah.
I'm sure there have been times, but I've seen it happen a handful of times, and every time the team that gets the 2 first round picks just has a better outcome. Just percentages are just favor those players.
So in my spot, just take Jamar Chase.
Just take Jamar Chase, bro, and trade after the draft. It's way easier to trade after.
Easier to do that. It definitely is. And our league, just to give you, I guess, some context or backstory, extremely stingy. Nobody trades. It has to be lopsided on one side or the other for anybody to even think about accepting it. So,
Brian,
trading's out of the question. Brian's the worst out of everybody.
Brian, you didn't send him my article, dude. The Fantasy Sports FSWA Football Article of the Year. 3 books for the Dynasty Trader, 3 books for the Fantasy Trader. It just goes into how you can facilitate trades. Exactly the problem you guys are having, man.
Yeah,
check it out, dude. I gotta plug it.
I think it's too far gone.
I'm gonna have to. No, I'm gonna have to check it out. It's a little too far gone.
You guys are too dug in.
Even though I am the one getting the tomatoes, I do have the largest trophy case in the entirety of the league as well. So there's
the number one thing to facilitate trades easily is to look at the other person's roster first. Right. Look at their roster first and realize, realize where you have a surplus, where they have a surplus, where things match up, you know what I mean? And actually send them a trade that helps them. If you're dug in like that, that's the only way.
Right.
Because otherwise everyone's going to think they're trying to pull an over.
Everybody is so like, how is this guy trying to screw me over when they see a trade come in? And then when you start to try and sell it, they're like, why is this guy selling the trade to me? Even if it makes so much sense for them to do the trade, they're psychological. They're like, bro, I'm getting screwed.
I mean, I have that problem for sure in my leagues because like no one will ever trade me a tight end ever. I never want.
Why does he want this guy?
Yeah, I can't trade what our prospect. Yeah, exactly. Never, not in any dynasty league has anyone ever traded me a tight end that I want. Never one time. So I get it. I do get it because I am up to something. Like you know, like
Usually
I absolutely am. You know what I mean? Like, and also I can't trade any of my tight ends away. Like I have teams that just sit there with Laporta and Andrews and Kittle, and I'm just like, who needs a tight end? And everyone's like, shut up, tight end boy. You know what I mean? Like I can never get fair value coming or going for tight ends, dude. So I totally get it.
Overpay, and that's even if they bite. Right. But I guess looping it all back together, Jamar Chase is the league winner this year. I mean,
he's got you can't, again, first round, you can't necessarily the classic saying, you can't necessarily win your league in the first round, but you can lose it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
So
you definitely can. So that's all I have, man. I mean, I'm we go back and forth on this. It hasn't really been too much Saquon because I do agree with the regression aspect there. I think there's a lot of other pieces there on the Eagles offense. But, you know, just talk about Bijan Robinson again and why I shouldn't draft him over Jamar Chase at number 1.
So, again, that's personal preference at that stage.
Is it a bad move?
It's not a bad move. It's not. Actually, there are 6 players, including Saquon Barkley, where if anyone took them at 1 overall, I would say, okay. Like for me,
fine.
For me, it's Chase, Jefferson, and Lamb, and it's Bijan, Saquon, Gibbs. Any of those guys, you take them at 1 overall, I would say, all right, cool.
Right.
But for me, and that for me makes it so that anyone listening out there, if you get to choose your draft slot, for me, the 7th pick is my least favorite. 7, 8, 9 or so, because I don't want to make the next decision on the next tier. I want someone else to make that decision. So I would rather get one of those top 6 guys, or I would rather pick 10, 11, 12 and collect whoever's left and get the value at the end. I don't want to decide on who's 6 because to me, 7. I don't want to decide on who's 7 because to me, nobody really jumps out. And I think if I was put in that position, I would probably take Christian McCaffrey. And that is scary.
That is very scary.
Best shape of his life.
I mean, that was incredible. The thing is, it's like I hate playing Dr. Fortune Teller with guys that are currently healthy, right? Like if you're healthy now, I'm not going to try and guess who does and who doesn't get hurt. People tried to do that a couple of years ago where they were taking Jonathan Taylor over Christian McCaffrey. And then McCaffrey was the RB2 in all of fantasy football and Jonathan Taylor got hurt. So like the whole guessing game doesn't work for me. We do enough research where, we know like this is the question I always pose to people, right? Is that where do you draw that line of like, okay, I think player A is going to score more fantasy points than player B, but I'm going to take player B because I think player A is going to get hurt, even though they're not hurt right now. It's like once you start figuring out what players you'll even consider that for or not for, it's not worth it. Just take the player who's better and cross your fingers and hope that they don't get hurt, because that's what we have to do all year long with every single player in this crazy gladiator sport, right? Yeah. So for me, I'm taking McCaffrey there, and it is scary because of his age, because he's coming back and we haven't seen him in a while. But like at a certain point, I'm not going to take a worse player, you know.
Talent and opportunity are still there. There's no doubt.
Talent and opportunity there, yeah, that's it. I can't take. It's like and George Kittle had the same calf procedure done in like Panama like a couple years before, and that whole reason that they went and did this, like I'm not worried about that. Like I'm worried about potentially the age or whatever else. But again, the more I think about it, the more I just say to myself, I'd rather take him and hope he doesn't get hurt than take a worse player and hope that guy doesn't get hurt.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, you're gonna talk me into McCaffrey at 3.
See what I'm saying? It's like if somebody were to come out and actually come up with like a truly figure out a model for injury prediction, which is like kind of like sicko stuff, right? Because it's like people are like, he's gonna get hurt. I'm like, well, did you tell him? Did you warn him? It's like, did you? It would be nice of you to tell, like, hey, I know that you're gonna suffer a gruesome injury, right? It's like. It becomes such a weird. The more you think about it, the weirder the whole notion gets of like, yeah, I know this guy's gonna get hurt, but that guy, nah, he's not gonna get badly hurt. It's like any one of these guys could get hurt. Just draft the good players.
Yeah. Well, speaking of injuries, Coop, I have one last question for you. It's our SeatGeek question. Use code Views from 400 at checkout for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. You set the football world, not only the fantasy football world, the football world on fire last year when you figured out T. Higgins knew when he was going to play and when he wasn't going to play by running up a hill before he took the practice field. So which injury are you going to predict this year, and how are you going to put the insider hat back on this year?
It's I'm always looking for stuff, dude. I just posted some. Follow my Twitter. Most of it's nonsense, but I'm always watching those clips. I just put a picture of Rashee Rice holding 4 fingers up, saying that's Rashee Rice telling everyone the minimum number of games he gets suspended now. That Jordan hasn't got 3. So I'm always watching those. That one happened to work out. This is why that one worked out. Is that the Bengals beat writers are forced to stand in this one little enclosed area. So the videos always come from the same spot. So I watch those every day to see who's doing what, who's coming out. And I noticed T. Higgins there. So the unique circumstance of that one is going to be tough to replicate. Not to mention T. Higgins straight up told the reporters that he's done walking up that hill, because he doesn't want to give anything away. But
that killed me when I saw that one.
Yeah, a couple of guys, I forget, but the Ben Baby came on our show and he told us that they call that hill Higgins Hill now. So we left some impact. Yeah, they call it Higgins Hill. But we'll have to see, man. I'm always keeping my ears to the street and my eyes to the videos to see what we can figure out.
That's amazing.
Well,
competitive fantasy advantage.
Dude,
Underdog, I think, tweeted T. Higgins ran uphill, ready to play on Sunday or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. We're watching for it, so we'll see. But yeah, dude, that was a lot of fun, man. It was cool hearing from some of the beat writers and guys over there that were like, dude, they're like, you're sick. And I was like, I know.
Well, Coop, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us in Section 400. If you want to plug anything, I guess, before you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed, I always manage to plug 7 different things during the show. So I've already given my shout outs to Fantasy Alarm. Check me out at Coop Fiasco. Get Sirius XM because Channel 87, it's popping. Brian Houck and the crew, they do an incredible job. And you guys notice on this show too, to make sure that things go great. So I know you got a big future in the industry, man. Excited to see where you're going, dude. We'll be watching you, brother. But yeah, for now, check us out, Channel 87. I'm on 6 to 8 p.m. And then during the season, every Sunday morning, 10 to 11, we'll be rocking the airwaves. So a lot going on. I'm fired up, dude. Let's go. Let's just get football here now.
Right? It's August, man. It's fantasy draft season. We're here, man. We're here.
Yes.
We're ready to go, brother. Hey, Coop, appreciate it a lot, man. Thank you again.
Thank you guys, man.
Thanks, Coop.
All right, now it's time for our Michael of the Week, everyone's favorite segment. I know Jack is just loving that we're talking about this now.
Woo!
And you know what? I'm gonna start this week with my Michael of the Week.
What do you got?
A minor league baseball team named the Portland Pickles. They brought in a fan, if you're watching on the YouTube, I'm doing air quotes, from the stands on Fan Appreciation Night. He had 2 at-bats. His first one, he walked, he stole a base, and then he scored on a sac fly. His second at-bat, pulled a home run over the left field fence. I don't know if I buy this, because if this is truly just a random fan, this is a Disney movie.
Oh, I watched this video. Dude, that kid had a clean swing. There's no doubt about it. At the same time, he didn't look like he was anything special, like a pro baseball player. So I don't know where you're going with this. He did look like an average fan who probably played high school ball, maybe a little bit of JUCO, and had a nice swing.
It's just in the age of AI and fake videos, and obviously this isn't AI, but the age of people faking things, like the Browns faking that. I think this was Matt's Michael of the Week. The guy fell in the lake when he did it on purpose so they can get more. It feels like I should be a skeptic here, even though I really want to believe this is real and this is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, it's more like I believe. Did he actually hit the home run? I think so. Was it propped up? Did they give him a meatball fastball? I don't know. Did they pick a JUCO superstar who is a lot better than the average Joe Schmo sitting in the crowd? It's a collegiate summer league, so it's not tied to MLB or their minor league products. So they're, it's a poor man's Savannah Bananas out there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this kid plays for University of Portland, and he's a bench warmer, and they're like, we'll feed him a meatball over the middle, and he's rocked it. But even then, it's cool.
Maybe they gave him a corked bat. Maybe the ball was loaded. I mean, there's ways that you could deal with it, that you could make this a little bit easier
Was
for him.
it scripted? Is I think the question you're trying to figure out, and you're never gonna know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to take off my skeptical glasses and say this is very cool. And the kid's name was Dixie, I guess. So good on you, Dixie. This is every fan's dream, I would think.
No doubt. That's pretty cool. My Michael of the week, it's going to be the Rams paying Kyren Williams a fat bag in a new contract. Right after last year, they spent a third-round pick on Blake Corum. I think they spent another third-round pick this year, I believe it was, on Jarquez Hunter. War Eagle. Thank you.
Oh, that was a good one.
So I'm trying to understand McVay and the sauce here, what he's got going on. I know Gladstone's out of the building, so maybe GM role is, you don't got the smarts there anymore. Maybe that's going downhill. But Kyren Williams gets paid a fat bag. You just spent two, day 2 picks on 2 running backs the past 2 years. I don't understand. You still have Stafford and these 2 great wide receivers. We're not running the ball with 3 different running backs. I don't get it.
Yeah, Kyren Williams is a cheeseburger with French fries. He's going to be reliable, and he's not the most, coolest thing on the menu, but he's going to get the job done. But for $30 million over
33 mil.
You have Jarquez Hunter now, and I want to see Auburn running back shine. And they have Kamani Vidal's on the Chargers now. Who's their other back? Don't they have another?
Blake Corum.
Blake Corum, yeah, you did say that. Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter. I don't know. Maybe Kyren has some dirt on McVay.
Kyren's, he's been good for them. The past 2 seasons.
Guys, he rushed for 1,100 yards in the last. Yeah,
because they give him the ball 50 times a game.
It's not like a crazy contract in a league that we see the salary cap go up every single year. I think he deserves the contract. He's been the best out of the 3 guys. I guess the Hunter guy's a rookie, so we won't know just yet. But he's surely better than Blake Corum. I don't need this year to prove that to me. I think it's a well-deserved contract, and it's not an overpay at all.
I think it's a well-deserved contract. I just don't understand it. Why would you take these running backs in the draft the past 2 seasons and then go pay Kyren? Like,
where did they get? These weren't, and it's only
Corum was second round and Hunter was 5th round.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're drafted in the top 10 here, but just depth. I mean, we see depth at every position, so they were just getting some young legs behind their star running back.
I guess so. I have a unwarranted hatred towards Kyren Williams. I think it's because I liked Cam Akers, even though he sucked. I don't know. I want to see another back get a shot over there.
It may have been because I was in on him last year.
No, this goes back to like 3 years ago. I don't like Kyren. Maybe it's just because he's boring. I don't know.
And
he's so boring, but he's good.
By the way, Hunter could have went undrafted, and the Rams could have picked him up. So I don't even know why.
He led the SEC in rushing last year. He was going to get picked.
Thought he was like isn't he like fat?
No.
He's stocky. He's a big guy.
He's a running back. He's thick.
He's not a guy that's going to lead the league in rushing and be a superstar.
Oof. He might be a superstar.
I don't know about that.
We might see, like, in 3 years, the whole ETN and Tank Bigsby situation.
He's young now, so he's stocky. Give it 5 years, and he's Mike Tolbert.
He's from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia, Mississippi, but Philadelphia.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. Whatever. The Rams running back room doesn't scare me. I don't know. I feel like you guys are underselling Kyren Williams here, too. Like, this guy's been a beast. You're like, I want somebody new out there, right? Like,
yeah, Kyren Williams is boring.
He doesn't have, like, I don't know. I don't think he necessarily has that breakaway speed that you see flashing on screen, and
that
doesn't hit
away from the cop speed.
doesn't hit big plays.
Shout out Madden 12 or Madden 13. We just talked about this with Coop about the whole thing of like people are scared to draft players because of they might get injured. Kyron Williams has been that for me for the last 2 years because he might finally actually suck. Because I feel like he should suck. So that's why I don't like Kyron Williams.
Is he the guy that jumps in the stands and gives his mom the football after he scores a touchdown?
I haven't heard that one.
I think Jarquez Hunter does that with fans.
Yeah, there's like something with Kyron Williams and his mom. Look it up.
I mean, I know D-Hop does that, but I don't think you're.
What team is he on now?
D-Hop, he's with the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens.
He's ring chasing.
Weird fit there. They always sign a one washed up receiver. They did it with Odell. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Odell's still ring chasing too.
I think he's going to be done.
Is he back in Miami? I think he's back in Miami.
No, I don't think he's on our roster. Is he?
Video right here. Kyron gives mom TD ball. It is him. There you go.
Odell's only 32, but yeah, I don't think he's signed.
He's like, everybody in the comments is like, Odell needs to hang it up. And I agree. All right, I'll do my Michael of the week here. And we go to the baseball diamond. We have two teams tied with 24 wins since June 1st. Can we guess who these two teams are?
I'll let Jack go because I know it. I saw this.
The Phillies and the Mets.
24.
No, 24.
This is very bad.
June 1st? Dude, that's 2 months of baseball.
Oh, excuse me. Time is flying by. The White Sox and the Rockies? Like, are we talking about like the worst of the worst here?
The White Sox is one of them. The team tied with 24 since June 1st, over 2 months ago.
Oh, is it the Yankees?
Is the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, that's bad.
It just sent Bird down to AAA.
Yeah, sent Bird down. I don't know if I said it. Was it pre-show in a text or on the pod? I said my bold prediction at the deadline was Yankees to miss the playoffs. And they're really trying their absolute best to do so.
They're falling real close to the sun here.
I mean, just like falling apart, not having Judge, like all of like the bad things that could happen are slowly starting to happen.
Judge is back today as we're recording this as a DH.
Okay.
So I guess they're going to just try to rush him back to hit only. But
the
Yankees are a game and a half ahead of the Rangers, who they are playing right now.
Wow.
And another loss would put them a half game ahead of a wild card.
In the wild card spot?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, that was a bold prediction. And now it's like looking very realistic.
Then you have Cleveland sitting there at 57 and 55. They've won 17 out of the last 24 games.
They've been red hot. They said no. They said we're making a run. We're not selling Quan.
Yeah, they just tied the game against the Mets. Fantastic.
The Mets are falling apart.
Yeah, they are. Check out my blog. I basically gave a middle finger to David Stearns about him not calling up the prospects. That's on the website.
The Phillies are red hot. Taijuan Walker's 0 runs through 5 innings.
The Orioles aren't a serious franchise.
Hey, who also called them out for being going to be god awful this year?
You did.
You guys got to watch my baseball predictions. They've been red hot. Brian had
all the A's to win the division.
Well, that was a Super Bowl prediction, but they were better than they were last year, and I did say that.
Yeah, a couple of years they got
better.
A chance to do some damage.
Yeah, they get to the. But baseball, I mean, I know football's right around the corner. But we can't forget about Red October, which is right around the corner.
Yeah, we'll be having some good baseball segments coming up here, but it's football season, fellas. This weekend we have a full slate of preseason games.
Full slate. Did you guys watch? Would Trey Lance throw a couple pick sixes on the Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, a couple actual touchdowns. One of them to Keandre Lambert-Smith. War Eagle.
Okay.
War Eagle. Yeah, Trey Lance had a heck of a game. I mean,
then it was the guy on the other side.
Hendon Hooker didn't play too
Kyle
well.
Allen.
Kyle Allen. Yeah.
But that guy's been a scrub. We don't need to worry about him.
Yeah, he's been around the league. But I'm excited for football. Hopefully, we can get some more fun guests on leading up to the season and during the season.
We definitely will.
It's coming up, fellas.
It's August, and it's going to be packed. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all we got for today. Before we know, we're going to be at episode 202, so stay tuned. We'll see you guys on Monday, back to our regularly scheduled programming for the rest of the fall.
The rest of the fall, football season's here. Let's go!
Win some games, man.
Yo, Phils.
Duval.